Did you ever have any bad experiences with agents or something like that?
Man,
I'm gonna tell you about mine after.
Yeah. I've had to fire, a lot of agents and getting rid of agents, and that's just only part of that is some agents want to keep you in where they are. I had an agent in Spain, and he was just really on compound interest. So he was getting a lot of us to the lower leagues in Spain, and he was getting 50, 60, 70, maybe 100 euros per player because our contracts was very low.
Yeah.
But he was getting 80 players doing that, or 60 players doing that. So he could make his 4,000 or 5,000 euros or 6,000 or 7,000 euros for that year and be okay and still have a regular job and make his extra side money and keep you in that little level. So, one time I left and I had to fire an agent and I left and kind of make my own deals. I started making my own deals like maybe 5 years ago, and I haven't really used an agent or have sought to use an agent because you can kind of do it yourself once you figure out you just need to be close. And the dynamics of that being close.
Do you see a downside with having an agent do work in another country if you're not going to do the calls? Is it worth letting the guy get there? What's a good percentage for you?
When you're first starting out as a young guy, 24, 22, 23, get an agent. You don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
Okay, I'm 34, so I learned it by the time I got 29. So you need to go through about 5 years of learning because you're going to learn that an agent is going to hold you back, or you're going to learn when you come home in the summer, the agent, you just basically played somewhere and you thought you did decent. You averaged 13, 14, 15 points, 6 or 7 rebounds. Your team won maybe 15 games, and your agent tell you, we don't have nothing for you. Then you're going to start looking to other agents and going to other. So if you get tied down with an agent, you don't want to do that unless you're with an agency like Courtside or an agency that's known for getting players and getting jobs, and you're going to get your job.
Okay, so it's not like just having one raises your stock, and teams are just going to look at you better because you have an agent.
It's all about
That's
all
what
about the connection of the agent.
And I've only had one agent. I never got to say anything as cool as what you did. You've had to fire lots of agents. But hey, man, that's
because I started doing the deals my own.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And it was a period to where a coach hit me up one summer directly. Hey, I want you to come play for us. The contract was in an email. I signed it. Boom, I was waiting. Okay, and then there's been times where my coach from college hit somebody up, and then I went to Venezuela off of that. And then the next year I went to Venezuela. It was the assistant coach of the team that got me the job. Okay, so then I started getting jobs like that. Then it was a guy that knew somebody in Spain and was looking for a big guy. And then I went to Africa again, to Equatorial Guinea, and then after that, I came to Finland and kind of worked this on my own, just knowing Chauncey basically. So
yeah,
that's how it is.
How many different countries have you been to altogether?
Altogether, 25. I could say 28, but some of those other countries, I for some reason, I took 3 off because it's kind of cheating. But I kind of just say I've been there, like Italy, Ethiopia, and like it's maybe like Curacao. It's like an island.
Yeah,
I've been there.
Blue Curacao. I remember the alcohol. That's
Curacao. Yeah, it's near Venezuela, and I've been there several times since I was in Venezuela, living there at one point too. So yeah, and all this is through basketball. So my whole journey is through basketball, basically the journey. So yeah, in all 25 countries, I've been on every continent in the world except Australia, basically, and Antarctica. Excuse me. Yeah, I've been to pretty much every region in the world: Eastern Europe, North Africa, Central Africa, South Africa, East Africa. I've been to South America, Venezuela, Colombia, the islands, Jamaica, and Curacao, Aruba, and Mexico. So I've been to, and Central America is another region I haven't been. Other than that, 6 countries in Europe. Now I'm in Northern Europe. Been to Southern Europe. Stayed in the Canary Islands. So been to Arabia, Saudi Arabia, and Bahrain, Dubai, and Bahrain.
Yeah.
So I've been everywhere.
Man, you really have. Which places? I'm gonna have to ask the cheesy douchebag questions. Which ones were like the places that treated you the best? Which ones like the American? Which ones were a little scary? Which ones?
Okay, the best country, man. One of the best feelings, because I go by the feeling. How did I feel?
Yeah.
What was my emotional feeling in the country? And that's what I go by. And Canada and Spain was one of the best 2 countries. It's either between. But I would say the best country that I've probably been to overall is Spain. That's the best fun I've ever had in my life. That's the best feeling that I had personally, and I think is a super duper great country.
I can tell.
Because it's the culture.
I can tell you're about to cry because I have it.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. So, was it the fans? Was it the team? Was
It's
it
the culture.
teammates?
Culture.
The culture. All
Of the
so,
culture.
okay. So
it's the culture.
just-
They love
built
the
something
party.
beautiful.
They love the party. They love to where I was in Tenerife, which is an island in the southern part. It's really kind of connected to Morocco. It's really an African island, but
Yeah.
it's Spanish territory. That's some political stuff you can get into. But just they had a lot of holidays, and they just had these fun holidays. Like they had this one holiday where they would just throw this talc powder. Everybody go to the center and get drunk. Everybody dressed in white. It's called Los Indios. You can look it up, Los Indios. Indios. It's an old Spanish, like, this festival, and it's kind of weird, but when you're there and you, like, just, I mean, people just really going down the street with, like, big bags of flour or talc powder, and they just throwing it.
Powder.
So the whole downtown is people covered with this white talc powder,
Yeah.
6 or 7 o'clock in the evening getting drunk, so it's just like, places like that, I was like, whoa. They have the carnival in Tenerife. They have the second largest carnival after Rio. It's in Tenerife in Spain.
Yeah, we never even heard of that. So yeah.
And it's a very big party. It's very fun. I was out there spaced out and, just with my teammates. And that's where some of my best teammates came from and my best basketball experience came.
Were there teammates that you ever said, man, I kind of got to like distance myself from here because if I'm going to succeed in Spain, it's okay for me to have some fun, but
Not
I
there.
need to. No,
Not there.
okay.
Other countries.
Okay, other
In
countries.
Spain, we had the best team. Everybody went out together. We all hung together. We all, we all went to clubs together. We took pictures together. We sat at the airport together, and that's what builds teams: is the relationships of the players. Okay, you're gonna always have a lone wolf, and a lone wolf is the guy that just don't want to be like everybody else on the team, but he still has to come in because there's so much unity. He would just look so isolated. So we had one of those type of situations, but we were just a good team. I still talk to those guys. We still tag each other on Facebook. We still have memories and have our little sessions where we just really remember that time. It was very, very, very good.
I agree.
Still to this day, and I was there in 2009.
Damn. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So not only was it memorable,
And we still stay in touch to this day, and we all say we still had the best team or are the best team. Actually, we were playing in a low division in Spain, and we were at like the second highest team scoring in the whole entire country with ACB.
Yeah.
We were scoring like 94, 95 points a game. We had the best.
What's ACB?
ACB is basically the second best league in the world. It's the Spanish top league, ACB.
Okay.
I think it's called like Indensa now. They changed the name, but ACB.
How much did they pay you to say that? No, I'm joking. It's sponsored by them. Okay, there's the plug. It'll be on the annotation.
No, because people need to know what is the
Yeah,
other best basketball market. Spain's ACB used to be the second biggest and the best league. I mean, this league was crazy. It had like the top. If you got cut out the NBA, you went directly there, or you still do pretty much now. And that's where you can go and do what they call kind of like go in your retreat and still have a good year in Spain and go back to the league. Because once you do there, if you average 14 points there, you're going to the league, you know what I'm saying? Or you're going to at least get those training camp invites in the NBA and stuff like that.
So Spain, you would have stayed in? You could have lived there easily?
Oh, yes.
Easily?
Yes.
Okay.
Still to this day. And the only reason why I left is because I had got an $8,000 raise. I was making about 1,000 euros in Spain. I wasn't even making no money. And then I had a team came players from Angola. They was coming through just to like practice before their season started. And we played them in a dude named Reggie Moore. It's like he basically gave me the connection to Angola, and I was making $1,200. I signed the contract about maybe 3 months later for like $8,000, $9,000, which is a big pay raise. And the funny thing about it, when I was in Spain, this happened in 2010, and I went into the general manager of the team in Spain, and I said I want to leave and go to Angola, and he was like, well, Byron, I mean, we just can't let you go like that. And I showed him the contract, and he seen the difference from what he was paying me than that, and he told me, he said,
okay. I'll see you later.
Go.
Yeah.
And then what he basically did was put something, and I signed it, that I would pay them 2,500 euros by February 25th, 2011, and I paid them, February.
Right away, the first month.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so that was an easy move. But how much, what if they would have only offered you like 2,500?
No.
$3,000. See? You wouldn't have given up the lifestyle for it.
No.
But that's really interesting because you're one of the guys that maybe then the money isn't everything about it. Where, that's what I grew up in, that success system of that that's the only thing that matters at the end of the career is not how much fun you had and it's how much money did you make in there. Now I've changed my views quite a bit because man, if you don't have health and happiness along the way, then what the hell are you even doing in the thing? But yeah, so I got there was one time when I had an agent, a fake agent, hit me up. You know, I had a few try, but some of them were quite obvious. But one of them was Luis Scola's agent, and supposedly, and he contacted me. But the thing was, everything looked legit. He had a job offer there. It was in Australia. And they had a team name, everything, so you could look up all the team stuff, but the team stuff is just pulled off another website. So when I looked at the name, I did a search on Google, and the dude's email address, it was sent from a different email address than the one you contact him. You can contact Luis Scola's agent easily. I forget what his name is.
So they were using his name.
They were using his name and his company name.
Yes.
And so, and trying to get me to pay some type of fee for a licensing, and they had the contract like sent to me, and but I had to pay something up front, and that's when I was like, okay. And because I was excited and I had no expectations, so I'm like, oh man, this is my chance. So I contacted the guy. Yes, exactly. So I called the guy, or sent him an email at this other email saying, hey, I was contacted by you. I'm just checking if it's you. Sorry if it's not. I'm sure you get this all the time. The dude fucking called me, and I had a talk with this agent. And he's, you know, I see Luis Scola makes $10 million a year. So he's like, look, I hate to tell you, but for you being a guy that just got out of college that's trying to make a few thousand a month, you know, an agent like me isn't going to be, you know, I'm only making a percentage of that.
Okay.
So why, you know, for me to be making $100 a month on you compared to I'm making 10% on Scola. You know, but I was really grateful because, man, him breaking it down, I was like, oh, I understand now where I should understand my value is. Don't pay anything up front. But for exposure leagues or something where I'm getting to play against high level people, that's all right. But I also didn't realize while I was doing that I really should have paid somebody to videotape the whole time. I didn't realize that was important because I didn't know, hey, my health can change, my financial situation can change. And so if I don't maximize the fact that I'm in front of people now, maybe I won't get another chance to videotape it in the future. Stuff can happen, so.
Well, they got other scams, and one of the biggest scams they do is they always tell you have to pay some type of work visa. That's the new one, and also, you know, what is this? It's like you fly to this country and they make you pay something. But yeah, those are the scams, and I've seen a bunch of the scams, you know. But I can read them so easy now. I just know when it's not real, and when it's real, you can kind of just feel it.
So what should it look like, even if it's from a low-level team? Like, what should be the basic feeling where you're like, oh, this looks legit to me?
Well,
I see.
When I know a team is about to sign me is when they ask for your passport, copy of your passport. Okay. Once they ask you for a copy of your passport, nobody should ask you for a copy of your passport if they're not intended on buying your airline ticket. And after you send them your passport, you should receive an airline ticket. So if you sent them your passport and you receive an airline ticket, you know at least you're going to the country. Okay?
Right.
Okay? Because sometimes you get there and they see you and you see them and they see you in person and they start backtracking. And they'll say, hey, we want to send this guy home, or they'll come up with any type of excuse to get you out of there, because some teams have the budget to fly players in and out and some teams don't. So I just think that it's just the basics. You're never paying for anything. You're never going to pay your agent unless you and your agent don't have a deal signed and you just told him, hey, I'm going to give you a cut out of my check just for you looking out for me. But you should have at least a flat to stay in. You should at least you know, have maybe, you know, one meal included, or if you don't have that, you know, you just know they're putting you in a situation where you're cooking your food every day, so you're probably in an apartment and they're giving you a decent salary, enough to basically eat and play and enjoy and still have a salary. You know, have something. And that's what a lot, you know, there's different markets. There's the 22 to 25 market. Don't expect a lot of money. Expect between 3,000 to 5,000. And then once you play 3 or 4 years, then you can start getting into the 50, 60, 70, 80 range. And if you've played 8, 9 seasons and you're your 5th or 6th year, this is for like the average guy. Yeah. We're not talking about collegiate, I went to UConn. Of course, you're going to start off on a high end. It's a different thing. Okay, but guys like us, because I come from that, where I had to hustle up. And the only way I even thought I could go overseas is I went to my college coach's office just to ask him a question. And he had an agent a letter on his desk from an agent in care of Florida International University in my name. He turned his head, and I grabbed the envelope and put it in my pocket and told my coach, "Hey, I see you." Okay, he was on the phone, and I said, "All right, I see you, coach." And I took the letter, opened the letter, and it was a guy from Detroit telling me that he had been looking at me through the year, and this is where he could get me Poland and Romania and all these other places. And so that's what gave me the idea that I could even play. This was my senior year. I didn't put up no numbers in college because sometimes it's hard to put up numbers in college.
Yeah.
Put up 6 or 7 points, 4 or 5 rebounds. That's how most college players' stats look like.
Yeah.
Unless you go to a big time university, and then your stats is going to be high.
And you also started at 19.
And I started, but I started on those teams. But still, though, that's good in college. People don't 6, 7 points in college is good. You can still play the game at a high level.
Yeah. And what else did they want you to do? Because you're not just a guard scoring 6 points. It's like you're doing other things. You're a big, first off, in case anybody can't tell. I'm actually like 6'7" and 200 pounds. So because I look like I'm doing drugs next to this guy, I think we can probably tell he's, what are you, 6'8", 6'9"?
6'8", 6'9".
Yeah.
260, 270 now, but my playing weight is more around 250. That's on me. Just to say that I still didn't have that idea to play while I was in, and so that's what it all links back to. That's how I first started to know about agents, and then I said, okay, I started talking to this guy. But the first job I got came from somebody from Romania. Okay, he was from Romania, and he knew in a Romanian club in Bucharest, and then boom, that's how I got the job in Romania from my Florida International handball coach. So it wasn't even an agent. It's a handball coach who was Romanian, who knew somebody in Romania, and we flew directly there. They bought all our tickets and did everything, and then that's how I got my first job. So like I said, the agent thing, sometimes you can hit it. It's a hit or miss. And then, like I said, once you get into you'll have it to where sometimes I know one of my homeboys is a big man, and I think he's never had an agent. He's been to 45 countries, probably played in 20. He's been to Iran and everywhere from Thailand and Indonesia to everywhere, Peru. You know, he's like my mentor, and that's why. And I have a guy that I'm mentoring now, and I think that's what you got to do with the basketball. You got to take somebody and show them the mistakes and what you've been through, and just help somebody along so they can just have a easier role, because it's very, very difficult role.
Yeah, even for somebody your size, which everybody I know is always saying, "Oh, but if I was just 6'8" and 250, I would have done it."
No. See, this is 12 years later, and I'm still trying to play. But when I first started off, man, I've been to Mexico, Venezuela. I played in Spain 2 years. I've been to African Cup. I played in the South American League of Americas tournament. I played in Venezuela, which is high level. Played in Canada in the PBL. Played in all these different leagues in Saudi Arabia where it's super decent. Went to China on a tour. Played in Finland now. So I've played and seen good basketball. But at the end of your career, you're just going to either be there, or you got to find a lower division, or you got to try to just at least end it well. But when I first started off, man, I was jumping out the gym every day, and my highlights were just straight dunks, and I was turning down jobs, and man, I don't want to go here, I don't want to go there. And so that's what it is. Now I've slowed down, of course, but I still got the smarts in this game. So
what have you added specifically since you slowed down a little bit? Have you added an extra move, done something a little different, taken something out?
The older you get, the game slows down mentally, so you don't approach it anyway athletic. I don't approach the game. I approach the game from angles. So I know I'm left-handed, and if I get my player on the right block and I just give him 2 dribbles, there's no way if I just turn my shoulder that he's gonna block my shot. So now I just play smarter. I think before I make the move. I know where I want the ball. And that's the stuff before. It's just you kind of playing wildly, and you just kind of playing out of rhythm with the team. But the older you get, you just get smarter. So I would say I've added the ability to make more free throws, to draw more and ones, okay, to pump fake instead of go straight up.
Yeah, there we go.
So those are the moves that you end up adding, because you don't want to jump at the same rate you was jumping. Before I was jumping,
just try, and if he's there, great. And if not, then I dunk it.
Off 2 feet, off 1 feet, off the opposite foot, it doesn't matter. But the older you get, your body start wearing down. Of course, you're going to have to use different aspects of the game, like just playing more smarter. You just know how to get a player on your hip. You know how to just do different things and the little small things of the game. They have this move that Jason Williams taught, where when you're going up for a rebound, always put your arm on top of the other defender's shoulder if you want to stop him from jumping. But you have to make it look like you're boxing out with your arms like this, and you just kind of put your arm on top of your shoulder, on the top of the
I get what you're saying.
shoulder.
Yeah, so now when I go, I'm like,
you can't even jump because I'm looking like I'm so wide, and that's a way that you can stop somebody from jumping for you.
Oh shit, that's a little veteran move right there for you.
Yeah, it's a lot of veteran moves.
Because it all has to be in the motion.
And it has to be in the motion because you got to look like you're boxing out.
Also, I noticed you got a sick one for when you got somebody, whether or not they're even athletic, when you get them, you get it at the short corner, right? No, the high post corner, and you rip through, bang them with the shoulder, but it's when you pull it to your side, and when you time it. So when you feel the guy here,
Yes.
that's when it's also, so right then when I'm giving you the business and putting some wood on you, you've got me, so it's already in the smooth motion of this ripping from hip to hip.
Yes.
So I've seen you go here, pin somebody on this right arm, and they're gone.
Yes.
They're gone. And that size is too much.
Yes.
And now just one more step.
Yes.
Ah!
Yes.
Man, that's something.
And that's what spin moves. And like this is what I tell a player, and just find one NBA star or great and study it. That's all. So if you're a big man, study Akeem, study Shaq, James Worthy, Kevin McHale. If you're a guard, if you want to shoot, look at Larry Bird, look at Reggie Miller, look at Steph Curry, look at Ray Allen. If you're a driver and you want to drive, look at Dwayne Wade, look at Allen Iverson, study their moves because those are the guys that's doing what you want to do. I'm not trying to be like LeBron James. I can't do it. I'm not trying to be like Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
But I can look at Zach Randolph and say, man, this dude is 6'9", 260, left-handed, same body, same structure. I've seen him in person. He's no bigger than me, and he's making 60, 70, 50, 70 million. What is he doing that I'm not doing? What is he doing? He's running faster. He's running harder. He's not stopping on the play. He's rebounding. He can play under the basket. He can finish around the cup. So study his move.
Yeah.
And just study him. Study him and turn the move into you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I would say.
For me, it's guys like Kawhi Leonard or Klay Thompson now. I don't have their shot from outside yet, but the constant effort, how they cut inside. They're not the biggest dudes. How do they beat somebody like you that can really hit them or has long arms? So constant movement, never giving up, being able to finish with both hands, knowing those angles, knowing where you can put it on the glass. Some people I noticed develop something that they've never even practiced, but when they go for a regular layup, instead of coming up normal, they pull it far to the right and use the right side of the glass, and all of a sudden it's something that they just kind of develop when they get to another level. Mm-hmm. So there's all kinds of stuff that I just try to see somebody that does one thing or two things better than me and say, oh, I'm not getting low enough on my drive, I need to add that to it. Okay, I can add this one move here, and then I'll worry about getting that move from other spots, but let me just keep it simple and try to add these other things. Mm-hmm. So it's not like I can really take a guy like Kawhi Leonard and say, I'm going to try to emulate his whole game. I would, but I'll try. But one thing at a time. What does he do well? Oh, he gets super fucking low. Super low. And that effort. And you're never going to get in his head about it. So,
or just the movements. Because that's what I would say. The move. You still have to. Because Akeem, when these guys moving, you got to look at their movements and what are they doing to be able to score 20,000 points? What are they being able to do to get their guy in the air every time? What is the footwork they're doing? That's what I'm talking about, that stuff. Where are they posting up at? Because if you post up below the block every time, you're going to be inefficient. But if you post up high on the block, you have a better chance and have better. You got both sides, both angles. And are you doing that in the game? Where are you positioned? Are you really looking at where you are on the floor? Because that's key, spacing. And that's the thing. When you get older, you just realize the spacing, moving without the ball, passing and cutting. Those are some of the key things in the game. And basketball is so simple. It's just a game.
I'm going to ask you the question, assuming that you didn't start out with doing this type of stuff. But would you think it's important to tell people to, like, if you're working on post moves or stuff, to videotape yourself so you can see that, to make sure that when you post up, I think it's really important that my feet are in the same exact spot. So I know when I make that same move, I'm not a half foot farther away from the rim and then, oh, my shot's a little short or something like that. Is it important to watch yourself even early on? I'm guessing that we didn't have cameras like this back then. I didn't.
You can do it. It could be good, but I would say go by the feeling more. Okay?
Yeah.
It's all about the feeling because if you get out there and start practicing, okay, and you see the footwork and you see your footwork, it's just your fluidity. You're going to feel the fluidity when you get on the floor, and you're going to see, man, even when I do this, when we play 5-on-5, I'm scoring now. I'm just getting the ball right here. I'm giving this guy 2 dribbles, and I'm just turning around at this angle. And I know it ain't gonna be a perfect angle every time, but I guarantee you most of the time it's gonna be buckets. You know, so it's just the feeling, and then the filming is the feeling is the filming of you is just to gain the confidence, I believe, to see yourself doing the move, and it's more mental and it's going.
Yeah. Well, with post stuff, I never really put it on film until more recently, but definitely with the shooting stuff, it kind of helped me to make sure I was getting the right amount of release.
Shooting,
the
stuff
angle.
like that. Yes.
Like, because if it was changing between shots, I needed to know because I'm thinking it's the same shot coming from the left side or the right, and it's really not. There's so many different nuances on the extra power you get if you dribble with this hand or the other hand, or which leg is forward, or if you're pivoting reverse, you're going to need to throw a little less on it than if you pivot over the top, stuff like that. But so if you could develop one like dominant move, just let's say you only could master one, you just were not gifted enough to be able to do more things. Like, what would be the one that you're like, I'll just kill with this one move. I'm going to do this and make my money on that?
It would probably be long term, just a turnaround 13 to 15 foot jump shot on each side of the block. And if I had that shot or move, that shot could probably keep me playing longer than per se, the 2 dribble hook shot. Only reason because the game changed. So now if you could just catch the ball right there and turn around and shoot
Quick release.
quickly, yeah, for long term, it would be better long term. So if I could develop that, just a knockdown. I'm talking about, when I say knockdown, I mean Charles Barkley knockdown. I'm talking about LaMarcus Aldridge, Dirk Nowitzki type of knockdown.
Teammates put it in your hand. They know they can trust you. They're like, this is the best shot we could have gotten.
Yes.
Thank you. So we can literally run the play for that every time.
Yeah.
Or if I don't get what I wanted to in the middle,
that's a sweet shot. If you can hit around that mid range, because it's just such a deadly spot in the post. And I'm a post player, so I'm just bringing it to you. I can't say I want to have a dribble crossover because I don't have the ball in my hand, and that's another thing we can talk about is post players don't have the ball in their hand. Post players have the ball in their hand about 20% of the time, maybe even less, and the guards have their ball in their hand between 65 to 85% of the time on the floor. So if you're a post player, you're playing without the ball most of the game. So
what are the most important things you do without the ball then?
Screen
and
move. That's all you can do.
And how do you? What's important about the way you screen? Because man, I've seen
it's a screen to get open. So whatever man you screen to, if you're screening on the low block, you're trying to screen so he can either curl and you can just have the shot, or you can curl and pop, or you can pick, and then the pick guy is going to have a divergent, and then you're open. So that's what I mean when I say pick to get open. You're picking the guy, but everybody's going to run after the guy you're picking, and then you're going to be the guy that's open. Most of the time. So if and space the floor. If you don't have the ball, don't go in the play. If a guy got it on the block, back up a little bit.
Because
and make your man
the most dominant defender too.
Of course.
So you with the 7-footer.
If I got the most dominant, what is he gonna do? He's gonna always go in double, and he's always gonna stay. And so my man,
that shot that you were just talking about, if you could hit that little 15-footer.
Or I'll probably be right
at the rim. Right?
I'll be right under the rim. I'll be right because if my guy's a superior defender, he's not coming out like that to me. And they're probably going to just want to keep him under the basket, just being a presence. And sometimes being a big man, when they say get big, that just means, man, just standing there, have your arms out, have your length showing that you have, a 9-something foot reach. Just be big.
And be loud, too.
Yeah, be loud, cause trouble, be a big guy.
Bump people coming through.
Bump people, elbow people out the way, get the rebound. Let the other guy know that, hey man, I'm gonna have to really work on that end and try to get the boards, And if I'm motivated, I can play like that. You got to be motivated because you got to feel as a big man. That's why big men complain about getting the ball, because as a big, if you don't get the ball a certain amount of time, you're gonna basically kind of just be out of the rhythm of the game.
Yeah. And then they whip it at your head the last minute of the game, and you're like, dude, you haven't given me the ball once, and you expected me to make that horrible catch.
And that happened this year. I was in Parental, and they put me on the bench for like 10 minutes or 12 minutes or something, and then it was like an overtime game, and it was kind of like, it was like somebody fouled out and they needed me then. And it's like, oh, we need you now. And then I was like, man, I haven't even played the fourth quarter. And everybody looking at me with the poo-poo face at the end of the game like I wasn't trying or I wasn't giving my effort. You know what I'm saying? So I guess that's the rap I get out here, that I'm kind of, maybe I'll be late. I'm like lazy, but I'm lazy to when if my teammates ain't busting their ass for me, I'm not finna. I'm sorry. You know, that's just the way I look at the game, and I take it serious. You know, but that's just how I look at it.
Cool. I appreciate you sharing that with me because now there's no way you ever get hired back with Pittsburgh again for saying that. No, I'm joking, man. So
I mean, it is what it is, man. I mean,
there is a lot of stuff that goes on there, and that's not even disrespectful. It's just there's lots of expectations on both sides, from you as a player and from teams, and it's
of
like
course,
communication is tough.
Yeah, the communication is tough, and another thing is like when you're playing overseas, sometimes you don't even know what your team is. So you're going into teams and you don't even know. You're just showing up and meeting guys. And that's a whole process that these overseas teams don't understand. You're flying a guy in from another country and you expect him to just be in a group with people that he never met before and just, let's go. Come on. Humans are not developed like that. Yeah. We need time. Okay? And, it's hard to get on teams and start switching players and switching up you need to be able to have a little chemistry. So I one of the main things I start asking when I got a little bit older is like, who's my point guard? Okay, we have shooters. Do we have a shooter? Who's our three man? Like, I want to know what kind of team that I'm going on because I've showed up and it's been disaster and all the pressure on you. And if you ain't scoring 30 points a game, they want to cut you and send you home. And people have lives, and we all are like human. So a lot of these teams, man. I mean, it's a team in Venezuela that probably went through 35 Americans in one season. 35 Americans. They made 35 changes.
My college hired about 30 people to start. 2 of the bigs went pro or injured themselves. One got injured, and then 23 were kicked out for different rules or violations. Wow. So 23 people owe money because they went to some of the classes and have to pay for the full year, are now in debt, and some of them didn't even get to play because the season hadn't even started yet. So it's really interesting. Yeah, we have no rights sometimes, but at the same time, shit, at least it's not MMA. Because, man, if you get dunked on one time in an MMA fight, what would that be? Getting knocked out first punch, which could easily happen at our weight. Trust me, one punch can end your night, and people will immediately, you're garbage, you're shit. Oh, man, nobody wants to even watch you fight again. So at least it is tough in ours, and it can be brutal, but understanding it, man, it's at least cool that there's some kind of job that we can be bruised up, still get out there and have a good time, and not have to, fuck ourselves up super hard all the time. So I love it.
It's an interesting sport, man. And like I say, I use basketball because I see sometimes a lot of people, criticize people and say, "Oh, we just into playing sports," but basketball it gave me the opportunity to meet you. I wouldn't have met you unless I've been here, and it was kind of through basketball. Yeah. And all the places I've been through and people that I've met is through the game of basketball, and it's crazy that it's taken me to Hawaii. I've literally been all the way around the world, the globe, from all points, and through basketball. So it becomes, sometimes you get addicted to it. At a certain age, you're going 26, 27, you're gonna be rolling. You're addicted to the lifestyle. You're addicted to it. And that's what I think happened to me. I ended up being addicted to it because, I don't really have to be out here playing basketball and living this life, and I choose to do it. I could be, a computer programmer making apps if I wanted to, But I like the lifestyle, and it always gave me freedom.
But you're not going to have, I've noticed a lot of guys out here, probably end up their career a little upset that it didn't end up, you didn't end up in the NBA earning $20 million. Why is that the bar that, if you don't make that, then it's not good for you? Because for me, it's good.
Because they take it out the context and they're comparing themselves. I never compared myself, and I didn't never, I'm sorry to say it, and it's not that, but I didn't vision myself in the NBA, but I didn't care. I started to enjoy the lifestyle that I was on. I enjoyed going to Spain. I enjoy visiting Morocco. Yeah. Those NBA players don't have a rich global connection like I do. Yeah. I mean, I have a better connection than some NBA guys over here. A lot of NBA guys only went to Spain and China and stayed at their little Olympic village and didn't veer off and didn't eat the local food and didn't try to speak the local language and haven't talked to the local girls. Never went to the local bar, never had to go to the grocery store, never cooked there. In all of these countries, I lived there. Listened to the language, walked on the streets, smelled the environment, ate the food, okay? So then you become that, So these guys are just going in their 5-star hotels, right on a bus, right to the gym, right out of there. Because they're either scared, they think America's everything. Okay, that's cool. These are NBA guys.
Yeah.
So I just started like kind of just take in my experience. Like, man, I'm doing something big too. It might not be as big as the NBA, but I have some of the best cross cultural skills ever. I can get along with anybody in any group.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
In any type of person.
Yep.
Because I've developed that just from being out here in the world. So that's what guys got to do, and that's what. So now, at the end of my career, I want to do. If it's my job, I still want to be able to travel and meet new people and still knock down new doors, because that's what I've been doing this whole time, and that's been keeping me. That's what keeps me motivated. It's always a new experience, a new adventure, and that's how I went after this.
But you're an athlete. You're meant to be fucking stupid. You're not meant to be interested in all this. He took this from some book. This is like from Michael Jordan's autobiography. I wish I could have seen the world more. Something like this. He didn't come up with any of this bullshit. This is just literally
it's real, man. Because I started going to different places, and then I found out how the world works, and then you find out that America isn't the only country, and then you find out these different things about what's going on in the world. So for me, like I said, I just started to get very excited about leaving to a new country, meeting new people, and I almost kind of like was like, yeah, man, I live in the United States, but I just feel that this is better. I love being in Finland, and this is where we are right now, Helsinki.
Yep.
I like Finland. I think Finland is one of the I don't even know how to say this word that I want to say. It is probably the most complete country that I've ever the system, it just runs like a sewing machine, just like
and it's not perfect. Tons of problems, but still compared to whatever I've seen anywhere else,
I don't see a problem.
Well, I would agree with this because there is the main things that I would put as the top priority in the country, like safety of children and just being able to walk around and not thinking you got to be who's around me. But that's not even here at all. I think it's amazing.
Yeah. So what is the problem?
The amount of people going back to jail is so small that criminals are rehabilitated instead of just turned into fucking mental cases where they want to actually get you back and get revenge for the system. It's weird for me to adjust to.
This is one of the I mean, they have problems, but their problems they complain about are stuff that's being taken from them, not given to them. They already have it. So they're complaining about them taking a week and a half off of 39 days, 38 days vacations in the summer. Okay, nobody in the world probably gets 38 days in the summer. They get 5-week vacations. Okay, in America, I think we get it. You're lucky if you get 10 days vacation. Okay, once a year, and you probably get a little Christmas and some holidays here and there. But your vacation, I think is like a standard 10 days in the States. Out here, they give you 5 weeks to go, and they give you sometime allowance or whatever for that. But Finland is a very it's one of the most well-ran countries. I can't tell you one thing that I kind of just super disagree. And you can even get into the immigration issue. They still didn't have that many come in. I've studied that. It's all in
Helsinki.
It's low levels. And the reason why Finland is able to do what they are doing is because Finland has only 5.4 million people. And I even looked at the population projection of Finland all the way to 2050, and they don't even supposed to surpass 6.7 million people. So in another 30 years, they won't add nothing but about 1 million or 2 people in the country. Okay, so this is not going to be no population explosion happening anytime soon. So they have a large amount of money to share with a small amount. So that's why they can run that. The system runs so perfect. And it's, a lot of people envy it because they say, why are they giving out so many handouts? Well, they just make a lot of money, and they don't have that many people to manage it with. And that's what people got to think about. In the United States, we have 310 million people. We'll never have any kind of social system like that. The system will break overnight because you can't subsidize 315 million people. You can subsidize.
But hold on, we subsidize the entire middle of the country. There's only 3 states that I understand that are producing money. The other 47, if we were capitalists,
but I'm talking about
cut them out.
I'm talking about the people. The government is always going to share budget. The federal government definitely supposed to share that. But still, the management, we don't have Keller in the States. You don't have a place where school is not free.
No.
Healthcare is not free. Okay, we don't have one of the best transportation. Finland is ranked as like man, it's the happiest or the most giving country in the world. It's number one.
Yeah.
Is prosperity is number 9. United States is number 11. So prosperity, which is all the economic freedom, is all of that combined. Those statistics. Finland is 2 spots ahead of the United States in prosperity, and it's probably always ranked between the top 2 to 8 best country in the world, always, for the last 10 years, decade, maybe longer than that. So Finland is a very high regarded country, got the best working skill in, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the 2nd or 3rd best education system in the world, and maybe the best working population. Their working population is very, let me see, it's sought after. So meaning that a Finnish professional can get 60 or 70 or 80,000 euros in Germany or Spain because they regard their working and their organizational capacity and being able to organize stuff and organizational skills and all this as superior. Superior.
Whereas they take, I've heard many scientists saying that, like Michio Kaku and Neil deGrasse Tyson, that like the students from America are almost worthless because they're trained so much better overseas to do higher level stuff, whereas for us we have this kind of washout system where we kind of like push math on them early the first year, and if they don't like it, good, we want them to stay away from it. Well, it doesn't end up producing this culture of like respecting engineers young and building them up. There's more guys that want to work on our jump shot and try to be you, where it's like, okay, we're trying to help you guys with that too, we're trying to help, but at the same time
the sports is, you're 6'7". Okay, you got a legit shot to make it in basketball. So pursue it. I'm 6'8", 6'9". I may not get a chance to be this when I come out again. I may be a 5'4", whatever guy. So God gave me his ability, and I tried it and I liked it. But that didn't mean everybody's gonna make it. And if you think basketball is for you, this is a very difficult thing to do. Overseas is very difficult. It's not easy because I'm talking about the average guy. I'm not talking about the star player.
Right.
We're talking about the majority of it. It's difficult. So that's what I want to preach. And like I said, I just took advantage of my opportunity. That's why I started so late in years. I started playing basketball at 19.
Me 24.
And I walked on a community college, and I signed with a Division I high major, Ole Miss. Went on a visit. They had a jersey with my name in a hotel, gave me this big fruit basket, took me around, met football boosters and, big stadiums. They played like, Auburn or something, went to the game. I mean, this is big time. This is down in Mississippi and in Oxford, Mississippi, and I ended up going to Miami and just falling in love with Miami and falling in love with basically a melting pot, a global melting pot, a mosaic of people. More than anything, it's just it's like a melting pot.
Did you not, when you were growing up, did you maybe not respect what a melting pot, the value would have to you when younger?
Of course, because I grew up in Alabama. I grew up in Alabama, so I grew up in a very segregated situation. Segregated the way I didn't know too many people outside of my little neighborhood. I was kind of closed-minded, and I felt that, man, by traveling around as a youth and young with my parents, that, man, this is more than this little town. So that's what, when I went to Mississippi and was like, oh, okay, but I was from that. I'm from Alabama. I grew up in the rural South. So when I see Miami and I go to South Beach and I see different people and it blew my mind. So I came back and told my coach, hey, I want to sign with Florida International. He told me, you crazy, and I was like, whatever. And he ended up, crazy part about it, I was the summer of 2003. I got a call. Summer of 2003. I got a call from Ole Miss, and they were saying like, we want to review our scholarships. And I was like, oh well, this is the perfect time to get out of it. And I was like, well, have the coach to call me. The assistant coach of Ole Miss told me no, and I had to curse him out. I said something like something MF, and I kind of went off, and that kind of just broke it. It broke it, and they was like, all right, boom, and they released me like the next day. And then I called Florida International, and then they told me, if you drive to Miami from Alabama, you got a scholarship on your desk. And I got in my car, packed all my stuff in my car, and drove directly down there to Miami. And they had me an apartment and everything waiting. So.
Never looked back.
Never looked back since then.
So please tell me at some point in time that you're never going to look back on this career and say, oh man, I could have just done more. Like, shouldn't you just be, you're enjoying the ride? I know you could have done more, you could have pushed, there's certain times, but man, aren't there times you could have done less too?
No, I mean, I could have did a lot more. And if you're talking about the overseas or you're talking about...
Overall, okay, for example, I met a guy who just retired from playing in Kawayoki. And when I ran into him, he knows I'm still trying to make it to his level. And he was sitting there and I could tell he got out of shape a little bit. And I said, hey, I saw you skateboarding the other day with your girl. And he started immediately kind of going into, yeah. And, you know, I asked him if he was still playing. He said, no, but I played 9 years in the top league. And I was like, I feel like you shouldn't have to say it that way. You should have just had that pride right off the beginning. There's no reason for you to have to explain it to me that you retired, man. There's no embarrassment in that. I mean, playing 9 years in the top level, I thought was awesome. Should have just rested on that type of thing. But
yeah, but then it always, you know, because I'm tired right now, kind of. And you don't want to characterize your career as being tired. You want to kind of say, yeah, man, I played in... He was more saying like, yeah, man, I just played 9 years, I'm tired. More than just like, he's tired.
I felt like he maybe had that like, you know, he wished he could have been telling me, yeah, I got signed at a higher level or something. Okay. Whereas for me, I have no expectation, but I know it's important to still like, I'm not saying go in there and just be happy with what you are.
You know what? I feel like
after the season's done, I know I did my job, so I'm not going to have the regrets. I came out there every game ready. So if I fucked up in a game, I'm not going to hold it in and take a week to get over that I fucked up in the game, because I did everything before that game to get to my best person, to be the best person